The Georgia Virtue presents the Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong podcast.
Welcome to episode 274. This week we have Raffensperger patch problem, no takeover in Fulton County, claws out for trumpets in the House, Virginia had an election, crack and guns are okay now, Trump's hiring process, Shifty gets in hot water, the Pentagon can't count, racist fat, and rubber chicken. I'm Dave Roberts. With me is my partner in this endeavor, Representative Emeritus Ken Poland.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dave. Glad to be back this week. Sorry about missing last week. I had a little golf tournament over in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, so I got to go see the Bama Rush, all the sorority and fraternity houses. Tuscaloosa is quite an interesting little town.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's Bamaville.
It is. It is nothing but crimson-colored shirts everywhere you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing if you go to Athens or go to Gainesville.
It is. Yeah, but it was hot as all get out in Tuscaloosa. I think it was, however hot it was here last weekend, it was about 15 degrees warmer with more humidity in Tuscaloosa.
I got a friend who's taking his wife to Vegas this coming week. And he got a tea time for him. And so she looked, and it's like, you realize when we tee off, it's going to be 110 degrees? He's like, all right, I can't do tea time.
Kind of a historic warm front coming through, Nevada, Texas. It's been up to 115 in parts of Texas this week. So it's been very hot. And then I noticed, I don't know if you saw this, but we could potentially have the first June hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico next week. So there's two tropical storms sort of back-to-back coming over from the African continent, and they say the first one could turn into a hurricane next week.
Yeah, so I saw that. It's
crazy
very,
weather.
Very early.
Yeah, it is very early for the hurricanes. But at least we're still around. I saw where Greta Thunberg said 5 years ago that if we didn't stop using fossil fuels, we would be dead by now. So we've saved ourselves a little bit of time here.
They used that poor little autistic child.
They did, totally. Kind of sad. She was totally used.
Yeah, she has no idea what she's talking about. She hasn't evolved with her views or anything else. I think they made her feel good. They put her out front, and they just that was damn child abuse.
It was.
I mean, she will never meet a person again who doesn't walk up to her and go, "How dare you!" So we have patch the damn servers.
Yeah, I know it's never ending, right? With the 2020 election and the upcoming election next year. But it sounds like there was a report that was put out this week by the University of Michigan computer science professor, Alex Halderman. There's a lawsuit going on seeking to block the use of the Dominion voting machines in Georgia. And really one of the big points that came out of this paper that the professor put out was that the Dominion voting machines in Georgia need to be patched before the 2024 elections. And what we mean by patched is it's just like your Windows computer at home. There's security patches that come down. You have to update your computer so viruses can't take over your computer and infect it. And so that's kind of the basic behind the story, right? Is our Dominion voting servers and our 159 counties in Georgia need to be patched before the next election.
And these are not the individual voting machines, I'm assuming.
Well, I think it is. I think it's the machines that the election offices have. And, they have to insert basically, I forget how they patch them, but it's probably just a
thumb
memory
drive.
stick. Yeah, a thumb drive that you put into the side of them. And it updates them with all the software. And as part of this, that became a big deal this week. And Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger said he would not update any of the voting machines until after the 2024 election. So you can imagine how this has kind of created a big stir in Georgia. Honestly, I don't know why Raffensperger doesn't go ahead and patch. This seems like something he would just do, get off his plate, and not allow people to continue to attack him over this kind of point. But he has dug his heels in and says no patching until after the 2024 election.
Look, we are never more than 2 years away from an election.
I know they're happening all the time. Yeah, there's always an election in Georgia.
Well, yeah, every year you have municipal elections in the odd years.
Mm-hmm.
And they all use the same machines. You never have enough time between elections to do things leisurely.
No, you don't. But I mean, what is it? The end of June? The presidential primary is not till March, so we're talking about 7-8 months to get a plan in to patch these servers. I think he's got plenty of time to do it. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones has requested a meeting with Brad Raffensperger to understand why this decision has been made. And then also Josh McCoon, the new Georgia chairman of the Republican Party, also really urged Raffensperger to comply with the U.S. Department of Defense standards immediately. So these are not just some standard this professor in Michigan came up with. This is the Department of Defense security standards that he says we need to adhere to in Georgia. So again, I mean, I think Raffensperger's digging his heels in. I don't know why he doesn't put together a plan. He's got plenty of people in his office to do this, and I'm sure he could hire contractors if he needed to go around and help the county secure these machines. Exist? Yeah, as far as I know, the patch exists. I don't think this is something that's got to be created. I think this is just normal, like security features that or security issues that need to be corrected before next year. Now, look, I'm also not saying if he doesn't patch, we're going to have fraudulent elections next year and Trump's going to lose again and we should blame everything on the machines. But what I am saying is the Secretary of State should do everything he can to make sure the machines are up to date and have the latest and greatest code and security patches.
Yeah, I don't see why not. My curiosity was if it's the actual machine, which really doesn't do anything besides print a ballot, or if it's the machines that you scan it into, because that's the machine that actually registers your vote.
Yep. Yeah, the machine you vote on doesn't. Yeah, you have to take that piece of paper, and then the other machine looks at the barcode and then records your vote. So I don't know if it's machines you actually touch, or it's a machine that you put your ballot into that records the votes. But look, this has created a big stir this week, and it'd be a
lot less laborious
mm-hmm.
if it was just one machine per precinct.
Yep. Look,
if it's all of them.
I think this is an unforced error on the Secretary of State's part, though. Look, at least act like you're complying with it, or act like you're going to try to put a plan together. And then if you can't get the plan to work in the time frames that we've got, then say, I just can't get the plan to work. But Raffensperger just came out this week and said, I'm not doing it. So as soon as a report comes out this week, his first inclination is, screw y'all, I'm not updating anything. So I think it's just this back and forth between Raffensperger and the Republican Party in Georgia that's not getting any better. And this, what I say is nothing's healing, right? We're not making amends between either one of these groups, which is just going to lend itself to more and more conspiracy theories as we move on. If Republican candidates don't win, it gives ammunition to these fringe groups.
I was saying the same thing. Is you're giving fodder.
Yes. When you don't have to. You could avoid this. You're going to
have Trump right back in Georgia as we get close to the primary. And if you don't think this is going to be mentioned, you're out of your mind. Right,
exactly. This will be a big talk.
So I don't know, but we do have more bad news for election conspiracists.
Yeah, this is another story that came out the same week. So there was the election bill that was passed in Georgia last year by the Georgia House and Senate and signed into law by Governor Kemp, allowed really a state level takeover of election boards in Georgia. So, and that was a big part of that bill last year. So it said, it's just kind of like the state takeover of the airport also. So basically it said, if we don't like what an individual county's doing, the state can come in and take over the local elections. And that's what a group tried to do this week. But the state election board in Georgia voted unanimously against that takeover this week. So they said, Fulton County, you guys are improving. We don't see any reason for the state to come in and intervene. You just need to keep doing what you're doing and keep improving your election processes.
And what the hell is the state going to do?
I don't know, because I don't think we want the state running elections. But yeah, that was part of this. And, there was a bipartisan review panel. They looked at all the problems with the elections, and they said there has been considerable improvement made since the last election. Now, how far we've gone, right? I mean, is this like you weighed 500 pounds and you've lost 10 pounds, so now you're only 490, or is this like we've truly made substantial progress? I don't know how far they've improved. I just know they said they have improved.
Well, I don't know how the state would have the manpower.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yep. I mean,
Fulton County doesn't have the manpower.
Look, if we can't patch servers, then I doubt if we can run the largest county in Georgia's elections. So let's don't try to. Yeah, this is one of those weird kind of situations. Now, another thing that came out as Fulton County is they also rejected a Fulton County Republican Party's nomination to join their board, which was a big deal this week, and it's been created quite a bit of news. So the Democrat Party in Fulton County and the Republican Party in Fulton County can each have seats on the board in Fulton County, and they actually rejected the GOP's request to be on that board. So that's actually brought up quite a bit of controversy too.
I bet it has.
Mm-hmm. It has. This is, again, Chairman Josh McCoon of the GOP. He jumped in, a couple of weeks ago, Dave, and he is, he's been on top of this. This is kind of his hot ticket item at the moment is State Election Board, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger not patching machines. He is in the middle of a lot of election-related issues at the moment.
I'm sure he is.
He's probably having fun, though. Josh is a good guy. So we'll see what comes out of that. But, yeah, Fulton County. But, I think everybody thinks Fulton County's a mess. And, again, where we talk about Brad Raffensperger creating problems or not doing stuff to kind of stay out of the limelight, Fulton County's right in it. I don't know if y'all remember, but what was it, that guy toting the boxes out of Fulton County, and he had all the boxes up under the table. It just looks and reeks of impropriety. And you don't want to do that when you've got 1 million voters voting in an election. You want to look like you know what you're doing.
Well, you also have memory sticks. Nobody knows where they are. They don't know how
Right.
many they have. They're not serialized.
Nope.
So you got memory sticks coming out of people's pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of stuff that I don't know if a takeover is the right word, but there certainly should be an observer.
Yes. And this is, this whole thing with Fulton County this week, and the Dominion servers has recalled or really had people talking about paper ballots again. So we've got people that are being very loud about the need for Georgia to go back to paper ballots. Like, I don't know if that saves any problems. I think it could create new problems.
How would you do that with 40 different line items on each ballot?
I know. It would be a mess just trying to get the ballots printed.
Now, could you do it for the primary? Yeah, because you have the presidential primary, because you're going to have one election to count. That's it.
Yep.
But when you get to the primaries and then you get to the general, you have 20 to 40 line items.
Oh, even in a little county like I live in, and we've got 5 municipalities in our county, and there would be separate ballots for the presidential election. There'll be another ballot for a local, people running for mayor and city council. I don't know how they would keep all the ballots, get them printed out and then have enough backups. I think
because we never had any problems with paper ballots, like hanging chads.
Right. Yeah, so I'm not sure paper ballots is the answer, but that's what everybody's kind of falling back on.
No, it's just not. It's not practical. Yeah. It would take a month to figure out who won before you could even do a recount.
Oh, it would take forever to count the paper ballots. It really would, which would lend itself to more and more conspiracy theory talk by whoever lost.
Yeah. The audit. I know a guy who was an observer down in, I think he was in Savannah, but he was standing behind, you couldn't stand, you couldn't just stand. You had to keep walking around as the observer. And he was watching this one person go, Biden, 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 Trump, Biden, Biden, Trump, Trump, Biden, Biden, Trump. And the way they were doing is they were separating them into 2 baskets. And after hearing him say this stuff, he walks behind and sees the Trump basket's empty.
Oh, geez.
So at that point, he went to the Republican lawyer. Republican lawyer went to the precinct chief. They stopped the count, went over there, went back through the ballots that this person already done, pulled the Trump ballots out, put them in the Trump basket, and said, okay, start counting again.
I mean, at some point, we have to trust that the people that are overseeing the elections are not partisan people. Do I trust that they're not? I don't anymore. And that's the problem, right? I mean, we got to have some kind of trust the election process is correct. I don't know if it is or not. I just have to think that I vote and my vote counts the same as anybody else's. But it is troublesome when we hear stories like we see people hauling boxes in and out on election night. None of that gives us confidence that the election system is secure.
Yeah, everything needs to be secure. I don't have a problem with technology. The technology that doesn't bother me at all. That's why we know a lot of our election results, especially the local stuff. We know by 9, 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Otherwise, it would be weeks.
Yep.
Especially if you start talking about larger and larger. So, you've got 3 state reps that are in 1 district for state senate.
Yes. That's up in your area, correct? You got 3 state reps in your Senate district? Yep.
And then you have some that split, that are part in one Senate district and part in the other that has the same state rep.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the gerrymandering.
Yep.
The process to do all that by hand is damn near impossible.
Yep.
We don't have the manpower to do it. Our population is too far gone to do an old fashioned drop in the ballot box.
Yep. I agree.
We do need to get rid of the drop boxes and get rid of no excuse absentee ballots.
Yep, that's 2 of the biggest things I would get rid of is the no excuse and the drop boxes.
So we have a MAGA cat fight on the House floor.
Oh, this was so awesome this week. So Representative Lauren Boebert from Colorado, and then you've got, I'm sorry, say that again?
Hot.
Yes, my son and I have met the representative from Colorado before in D.C., and then you've got Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia. Representative Boebert actually announced articles of impeachment on the House floor this week, which really set off some of her Republican counterparts, and especially the Speaker of the House, who said they've got to wait, they've got to get all their ducks in a row, and it's too early to do this kind of stuff. He said, she's just doing this on her own, and we really don't have a plan for doing it. So like we've talked about before, Marjorie Taylor Greene she's good friends with the speaker now. So after Boebert did this, she was walking away, Lauren was walking away, and Marjorie Taylor Greene called her a little bitch and accused her of piggybacking on her idea to impeach Joe Biden. So yeah, this was called on the House floor and confirmed by Boebert that Marjorie called her and I'm going to quote, the little bitch.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind a little them getting a little testy with each other. I mean, I think it's good when it shows everybody cares up there. So
I think Boebert showed a lot more class when she said, Marjorie Taylor Greene is not my enemy.
Right, exactly. And she's not.
No, she's not. And they'll kiss and make up.
I just think this shift, I mean, we've talked about it 2 or 3 times on the show. We probably need to stop talking about it. But this shift of Marjorie Taylor Greene to the establishment side of the Republican wing is truly amazing to me. And I keep thinking she's going to fall back on the other side, but she hasn't yet. There's
a big bottle of crazy that she's keeping a lid on.
Yeah, she's keeping it. And the question is, when does that lid come off? But for now, she has just totally changed. I wonder what the people in her district feel. I mean, I wonder if they are okay with kind of her shift to the let's say rhino side of the house. But I don't know. I mean, could come back to bite her. Yeah, that's true. Probably 90% don't know.
They have no idea what's going on up there. They know that she supported Trump and they like Trump, and that's it. That's
all they care about.
And if she gets hurt politically, she'll go from winning by 65% down to 62%.
Yeah, but she's not going to. Yeah, the only thing is she gets a primary challenger at some point. But I think the money that Marjorie has I don't think anybody can run a successful primary against her unless you know somebody up in that district that's got that kind of name recognition that could to challenge her. But I don't see anybody currently that could.
No,
not from the right anyway.
Not even from the left. They ran a Democrat this last time, Army veteran, everything. He checks all the boxes for, the blue collar type Democrat, and he came from the middle and all that stuff. Nope. And
I think he raised more money than any other congressional candidate ever that has lost. He raised a ton of money to challenge her last year, and it's like money. You might as well set money on fire if you're challenging her as a Democrat in that district.
Well, but he didn't raise it in district. He raised it in California.
It came from all over. Yeah, it came from all over the nation, which is what Marjorie's been able to do. I mean, she's a prolific fundraiser herself, and she's been able to go out and raise money from people all over the U.S., and that's why she's got such a big war chest at the current time, and can spend $100,000 on a chapstick.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah. She's going to be very difficult to unseat until she's ready to leave. She would have to go full on Liz Cheney.
Mm-hmm. Which, I don't mind a change of Marjorie. I did think she was given a sort of, some of the stuff she said early on was kind of wacky, right? With the Jewish space lasers and some of the public statements she's made. So, and even the Q support. So I don't mind it coming back. I just think it's just a huge shift for her to go from so extreme to being sort of the Speaker McCarthy's right-hand woman. I think she's right there with him on a lot of issues now.
Yeah, look, it's a lot more comfortable up there being close to leadership.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're totally correct on that.
Yeah, everybody wants to be a maverick until you feel what it's like to be alone.
Until you're going to dinner by yourself at night. Yep, totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
But it's like I said, I don't mind the little jabs at each other, and the House floor is not the place for it. I agree with that. It's not the place for that language or anything else. Just you handle that off the floor,
mm-hmm.
unless she wanted to be seen doing it, and that's quite possible.
Yeah, I don't think I saw in my years in the Georgia House. I don't think I ever saw anybody call anybody a bitch on the House floor. There were some very quiet, heated discussions from time to time. I had somebody ask me one time why I hated gay people because I voted no on some kind of public assistance for something where I just didn't think taxpayer money should be spent on a certain program. And it wasn't because I like or dislike anybody. It was more of a principled vote that says I don't think we ought to be spending taxpayer money on, these type programs. But we even had that was a sort of a heated conversation at my desk, but it wasn't to stand up, calling somebody a bitch as they're walking off like she did.
Yeah, you didn't stand up and say, "I'll beat your ass."
No, actually, after we had this conversation, it was with an old rep. Her name was Renita Shannon. We actually became good friends after we sort of had it out on that issue because she understood where I was coming from on future votes. So she said, "Oh, okay, I got you. I see where you're coming from." And we never had another problem after that. But her first reaction was like, "I can't believe you're voting against public money going to this program that I just didn't believe should be funded in that kind of way."
So why do you hate gay people?
I don't at all, Dave.
So real quick, we have some Virginia election results.
Yeah, I saw this story this week. So this was some election results for the Virginia House and the Virginia Senate. And what was interesting about these results, I thought you would like them. So one of the current state senators up there, which was a political centrist and one of these increasingly rare Democrats who supports limits on abortion access, lost to a state legislator who was 100% supportive of abortion rights. So on the left, what happened in Virginia on the left is everybody went left. So they got rid of the moderates and went hardcore left. And then on the right, you had a right-wing firebrand who pumped out all this election conspiracy stuff and said the election was stolen and all the conspiracy theory lines. And he actually lost. So it was sort of interesting that the people said, we don't want the wackadoodles with the conspiracy stuff anymore. We're tired of that. We're tired of the Trumpsters out there saying all this stuff. And then on the left, they said, hey, we want to go even more extreme to the left. So I thought that was an interesting sort of election here in June. And want to hear what you think about next year. Is that going to signal even more kind of getting away from Trump and even moving harder left for Democrats?
I don't consider Trump to be right.
I don't either, but the media portrays him as a right-wing fascist dictator. Yeah. But I'm with you.
Right,
I don't consider him right.
Yeah, he's way to the left of me.
Yes.
So he's not. I don't like the branding right wingers as MAGA people or conspiracy theorists or QAnon people, because true right wingers just believe in small government.
Yes, which is not like a hardcore right winger. We just believe small government, limited government, and personal freedom and individual liberties. Which
yeah. At best, government is a necessary evil. At worst, it is an intolerable one.
And that's not Trump. Trump didn't believe in any of that stuff, right? I mean, he was.
Well, he sure as hell didn't shrink the budget.
No, he's one of the biggest spenders ever, and that happened during COVID. But he did spend a lot of money, and I don't think anybody that really follows gun laws would think Trump's a fan of the Second Amendment either.
He never has been.
Mm-mm.
In one of his books, he wrote about waiting periods and things like that. He never has been. Now, I think Eric he's an NRA guy. I mean, he's probably still one of the elitist sort of gun owners where I should be able to have whatever I want, but not the little people.
Yeah. I'm a Georgia carry guy now. I think, or what is it? 2A now in Georgia. I think they are sort of I think they're a good group in Georgia. And then Georgia Gun Owners is the fire breathing gun group. I'm not a big NRA fan anymore.
No, NRA is the country's oldest gun control organization.
Yep, exactly.
Their plan is to give up our rights slowly.
Mm-hmm.
So no, the NRA is not Charlton Heston's NRA.
Yep.
So Hunter Biden gets a slap on the wrist, speaking of buying guns.
Yeah, what is a typical penalty for lying on your, what'd you say it was, the 4473 form?
4473, firearms transaction form. I think it's 10 years.
Yeah, it carries a sentence up to 10 years in prison. Which is a federal offense, right?
Perjury.
Perjury, yep.
So he got a slap on the wrist for 2 charges. He took misdemeanor charges, which he won't see the inside of a jail cell, for not paying his income taxes.
Which was over $1 million. And that's what I saw. I was like, who doesn't pay? I mean, what kind of job did he have to skip out on paying over $1 million in taxes?
It probably all went to his baby mamas.
He did. He pled guilty this week to 2 misdemeanor tax crimes and admitted fault on a felony gun charge, which will result in no jail time for the president's son. So again,
he'll do that will disappear.
Oh, 100%.
If he does his probation time and community service, whatever else he's supposed to do, that disappears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the gun charge goes away, and he'll be eligible to buy a firearm again.
Yeah, and I think the part of the news that came out of this, as I said, this plea deal suggested that the federal investigators have not found any sufficient evidence to bring any additional charges against Biden on other allegations of criminal wrongdoing. So all this money laundering that they've been talking about, foreign lobbying, or other acts of corruption, all that stuff's done now. So this is the only thing that Hunter's going to get a slap on the wrist for, and it looks like everything else is water under the bridge at this point.
Yeah, he's going to fall on the sword just a little bit here for his dad.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
No mention of the big guy.
Yep.
And I don't know. It's typically Justice Department doesn't investigate a sitting president. So that may sit on the back burner until he leaves office.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, who knows? I doubt if it ever comes up again. This just continues to, throw fuel to the fire of this our justice and FBI being, of justice not being applied equally. And I said this before. There's a lot of people out there that go to jail for lying on this 4473 form. They've got to feel like idiots at this point because Hunter's like skating off into the sunset, and we've got other people just going to jail for this.
And people who are using state legal marijuana, or using medical marijuana. Look, it's hard to get busted lying on a 4473 unless you buy a gun, then use your phone and upload your laptop, use smoking crack with hookers and showing off the gun you just bought. Well,
and did you see where he threw he threw the gun away in a dumpster outside of a public school. So not only did he buy it and lied on the form, then he just disposes of it in a dumpster where anybody else could have picked it up.
And to think for him to think it couldn't be traced back to him.
I know. The guy's out of control.
It depends on where you are. Obviously in Georgia, it's a little tougher. I couldn't tell you where I bought all my guns. Some are from private sellers, some are from stores. I have no. If you pressed me to say, hey, listen, you sold a gun 3 years ago, we have a 4473 where you bought it 5 years ago. I'm like, who'd you sell it to? I have no idea.
Right.
No clue. Yeah. I don't keep records of that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not in the gun business. I look at selling a gun the same way as if you asked if you could buy my hammer.
That's how it should be.
Unless I have reason to believe that you are a felon or something like that, which I don't. It's not. I am not in the business. I don't work for the ATF.
Mm-hmm. Nobody should.
Well, when they come to confiscate guns, I want them to be as confused as possible. Now, why did Trump hire so many bad people?
I don't know. It's just this continual Trump this week of having. This week he's got an escalated feud with his old Attorney General Bill Barr. He was being interviewed by Brett Baird this week, and he said Rex Tillerson, who's the old Secretary of State, he said he was a terrible person. Kayleigh McNamee, or however you say her name.
McInerney.
Yeah, he said she couldn't do her job. He said John Kelly was weak, who used to be his chief of staff. It's like he never looks himself and says, who hires all these people? And that's what Brett Baird tried to say. He said, President Trump, you were the one that hired all these people, and now you're the one that's throwing them all up under the bus. And which brings up a good point. Like, if Trump was to win again, who would want to go work for him in his cabinet or in the White House after everybody's been thrown up under the bus? You look at Pence, almost anybody on the cabinet, he has completely just thrown under the bus and just slammed since he left office.
Yeah, I thought McInerney did a good job.
Yeah, I did too.
She's certainly a stark contrast to the two we've had under Biden.
Yeah, the one this week, what's her name, says she was a historic figure this week, and she's only been on the job a year. Jean Pierre Karim, or whatever, however you say her name. She says she was
Jean Pierre.
Yeah, she says she was working for a historic administration, and she was a historic figure working for that historic administration.
She's an idiot.
She is.
Now, her predecessor was a liar.
Yes.
But she's an idiot.
Yeah, but Jen Psaki's got a job with MSNBC or CNN now, making a ton of money. So that's kind of that's the path to your next job with one of these.
It is. It was for Stephanopoulos. It was for McInerney. I don't know where the little blonde dude is anymore. I don't know if he's on TV or not.
I don't know, but if you paid any attention to that Brett Baer interview this week, this is also where Trump, a lot of people say, he incriminated himself in his federal charges, where he talked about the boxes and the documents in there, and he talked about showing portions of those documents to people at Mar-a-Lago. Look, I don't know why Trump's doing any interviews right now with the media. He's got a case coming up, and every time he goes out, he opens his mouth, and it gives the FBI and the Justice Department more and more evidence that they can bring up at trial. I don't know why he went on TV this week talking about the boxes and what he did with all this information. It really didn't make any sense and was really a head scratcher that his lawyers wouldn't stop him from doing this.
Good luck.
That is true. I don't think anybody controls what Trump's messaging is at this point.
Look, I saw bits and pieces of the Bear interview. Generally, I don't. I get annoyed when I watch the Trump interviews, but I don't know if Trump was expecting a softball, but that's not what Brett Baer does.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, when he sits down with Hannity or somebody like that, he knows he's getting a softball interview.
Mm-hmm. If
you sit down with Bear, you understand. You know, you're going to wrestle the bear.
Yep.
And I saw a bunch of Trumpers all mad about Bear turning leftist. No, that's being a journalist.
Yeah, it's doing your job, which we need more journalists to do. It
doesn't matter who you're talking to. Stay respectful, but stay on target.
Ask the tough questions, right? Don't ask what kind of ice cream you like. Ask the tough questions, which is what typically Biden gets asked when he's out in public.
Well, yeah, if Trump wants to stay with softballs, he should just go on Hannity.
Yep.
Go sit down with Gutfeld.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Go get these softballs. But he's picking fights with Fox News, with Kylie McInerney. Now he's pissed at Brett Baer.
Right.
So he's picking these fights where he has fewer and fewer allies in the media. And I don't necessarily think that any candidate should have allies in the media.
No, they shouldn't.
But you know, he's deplatforming himself, and all he needed to say when he was asked about any of the ongoing cases is, "Brett, I would love to talk to you about that."
No, but I can't.
I can't.
That's a simple answer, right?
When I am ultimately acquitted of these ridiculous charges, I will give you the first sit down, and we'll talk all about it.
Yes, that's the answer.
It's just not that hard. But his ego won't let him do that.
Nope.
And ultimately, I think it's gonna cost.
Yeah, I think it does.
All right, Adam Pencil Neck Shift got himself censored.
Yeah, this was
took two shots at it.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting this week because one of the congressmen I really respect, Thomas Massey, took sort of a beating on social media this week because he voted against censoring Thomas Massey on the first try. And I don't know if you saw this, but he was getting censored because they argued, the Republicans did, he misled the public by saying that Trump colluded with Russia during the 2016 presidential election. So totally agree that he should be censored. What they tried to do the first time is also fine Schiff $16 million. So what Thomas Massey said is, this sets a terrible precedence if we can start fining people millions and millions of dollars because the party in power doesn't agree with what they said or what they did. So they ended up removing the $16 million fine, and then on the second try, the Republicans censored Schiff for what he did back in 2000 or after the 2016 presidential election.
It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't, but the fine was very much unconstitutional, and that's why some of these representatives voted. But you're right, this is all theater. This is Schiff going back to California, raising more money because he got censored, and Republicans can go out and beat their chest to say, you know, they censored Pencil Neck Schiff.
Right, and there were a few no votes, but votes for president on the Republican side, but it passed strictly along political lines.
Yeah, but it was party lines. Yep. But you're right, this does nothing.
It gave the Democrats a chance to shout down the speaker and yell shame and go over and kiss Adam Schiff's ass. And all that's going to do is raise his star for running for Senate.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the next senator from California after, what's her name? Doesn't run again. Yeah. If she makes it that far.
If she lives that long.
If she lives that far. We talked about this story
She's being held together with Botox, baling wire, and duct tape.
Yep, she's trying to make it to the re-election so Schiff can run. Because Schiff's Nancy Pelosi's pick. And if she resigns before the next election, Gavin Newsom wants to appoint, I think it's Karen Bass, who is a congressman, to that position. So Yeah, she's trying to hang in there to the end.
Yeah, and and the end's a long way.
It is. I don't know when that
year
election
and a quarter.
is. Is that one in 2024 also?
I think it is, but
Okay.
the election's not until November of 24.
Right. It's a ways off.
And if she's in that poor health where she can't get her decrepit ass into the Senate chambers to vote, I mean, at what point are they being selfish? It's the same thing I said when our senator Isaacson decided he was going to run for re-election, knowing he had health problems.
Yeah, he shouldn't have ran for re-election. Yep.
And we got a governor who did the exact same thing on the opposite side that Newsom's talking about doing. He took somebody that checked boxes that he liked and put her in, and she got her ass handed to her.
And you look what Senator Isaacson did by running again for election, that then he resigns, and then Governor Kemp appoints Kelly Loeffler, and then she loses. If he doesn't run for election again, somebody like David Perdue probably wins that seat, or some other Republican, probably Doug Collins maybe wins that seat, and then more likely is in the Senate at this point. So
right, you have a sitting senator that's very hard to unseat,
exactly,
and with tons of money flying in.
Yep.
Yeah, Loeffler was always a bad choice. She could never connect with voters.
Nope.
All right, so the Pentagon can't count all the money that's going to Ukraine. They seem that they overestimated the value of the weapons.
Yeah, it's about $6.2 billion. They went back and actually did a audit on the estimation of the weapons we've sent to Ukraine, and they said, by the way, we overestimated what we've sent for the past 2 years. So we actually owe Ukraine an additional $6.2 billion. This was interesting.
Monopoly?
I know.
The bank made an error in your favor, collect $200?
It sounds like it is. I mean, I think this comes on the heels of the fiscal years wrapping up, and they said congressional funding was about starting to dwindle down for Ukraine. So they kind of conveniently went back over the last 2 years and found another $6.2 billion. This reeks of some funny business here, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, absolutely it does. I don't know, man. That's let me go back over my numbers. Oh, hey, look at this. I had more money to send you.
Exactly.
This is good.
$6.2 billion more.
Once again, Zelensky wins.
Yep.
This is a good time to remind you these are our opinions and not those of anyone not on the show or any respective company for which we may work, own, or otherwise associate ourselves with on a regular or irregular basis. Also, you can find other episodes and relevant stories over at thegeorgiavirtue.com. You got the mule.
I do. So the mule of the week, and this story just came out as we were taping a show, was, I'm going to call them vegans, but actual group that's going to be the mule is the Physicians Committee of Responsible Medicine. So if you all know, Macon has a minor league baseball team, and their minor league baseball team goes by the name of the Macon Bacon. So this group for responsible medicine has come out and wants the Macon Bacon to change their name to the actual Macon Bacon, because they consider bacon to be something that is not good for your health.
What if it's back bacon? Canadian bacon, is that okay?
Or turkey bacon. Hey, there's a lot of different kind of bacons. Yeah, but I mean, this is funny because this group sent a letter to the team president accusing the organization of glorifying the meat. Look, I mean, I think that's a cute little name, Macon Bacon. You've also got the Savannah team, Savannah Bananas, down in Savannah. Look, I don't think anybody's ever thought about Macon Bacon and how Macon's glorifying what we eat for breakfast in the morning. But yeah, this is another thing where obviously some group out there has got too much money and too much time on their hands, and they picked out something that they're going to rally against and try to get changed.
First of all, it's very narrow-minded of you. Bacon is good for more than just breakfast.
Yeah, it's true. It's you can't beat a BLT for dinner.
Or candied bacon as an appetizer.
Yep. So their statement said, I urge you to update the team's name to Macon Fakin Bacon like fake bacon. So making bacon, and promote plant-based bacon alternatives such as bacon bacon or mushroom bacon that will help your fans stay healthy. I have never heard of mushroom bacon, Dave. Have you?
No.
That's nothing we buy in the Fulton household.
No, there was a guy who was in office in Smyrna. He was mayor of Smyrna. His name was Max Bacon. And I saw his sign hanging up on a barbecue place, and I thought it was a sandwich first time I drove by it.
Yep.
But I don't know his politics. But give me the opportunity, and I will go into that booth and vote for Max Bacon every time.
What do they say about vegans and CrossFitters? How do you know if you run across one? They'll always tell you. That's sort of the same thing here, right? I've never met a vegan that didn't tell me they were a vegan right when we met.
Yeah, look, it's just a cute name.
It is. It is.
Good God.
Leave them alone.
I mean, and plus, do you really think that vegan soy boys are buying tickets to go to minor league ballparks? No.
Look, I think probably if you surveyed how many people out there like real pork bacon, I think this cuts across Democrat and Republican lines. I think bacon's pretty popular among everyone. So, yeah, I don't see this being an issue they can win on.
It's so delicious that two religions had to make it a sin to keep people from eating it. That's how good bacon is.
I hadn't thought of it in that way lately.
So BMI is now racist.
Yeah, speaking
Body
of
mass index.
Yeah, there we go. After we just come off of talking about bacon. Yeah, so the AMA, which is American Medical Association, said this week that measuring someone's weight and BMI score solely by their body mass index has racist roots. So this is your body mass index is racist. I had no clue until the American Medical Association said it this week.
Now look, if they said that BMI is inaccurate because it does not consider body type, you know, that is an interesting take. And it's something that I would agree with.
Yep.
According to the charts, I'm supposed to be like 185.
Yeah, I think I'm supposed to be 170. And there would be people feeding me all day if I was 170. They would think I was about to perish.
Yeah, I've been as an adult 180 before, and I look like a Holocaust survivor.
I know, me too. Yeah,
I'm a big dude. I'm 6'1", but I'm a big dude. I'm built like a lineman. I got broad shoulders, long torso, shorter legs than other people who are 6'1". So I'm built like an offensive lineman. Does it mean I'm not fat? No. Of course I can lose some weight, but I look, I look and feel really good at 225 to 250. Where if I just go to my general practitioner and look at the chart, I'm like, no, 180 is not going to do it.
Yeah, I'm not getting a 180. Yeah, I think what you said is 100% right if they would have framed it in that way. But what they said is the BMI does not appropriately represent racial and ethnic minorities because it's based on the imagined ideal Caucasian of the 19th century without considering a person's gender or ethnicity. So yeah,
but it wasn't racist when they did it. That was the sample of people he had. It was in Europe.
Yep.
In the early 1800s.
Right.
And the scientist originally, all it was a data point, is that he was trying to figure the average weight per inch. And that's it. And then in the 1970s, they used that research to sort of apply to where you should be on a body mass index. Binary charts like that if you're here you're good, if you're here you're overweight, if you're here you're obese, if you're here you're underweight, doesn't apply.
Right.
There are guys who are 6'1" that have skinny arms, narrow shoulders, and are long and lanky, who 165 would look really good on because that's their body type. But they are true. It doesn't take into account that different people are built different ways. But it's for me to hang it on races is really tough, especially since we don't have a society that is monochromatic.
Right.
We're mixed from a lot of different people.
Yep.
Even white folks will have a mixture of Scandinavian, of Germanic, of Italian.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you, I don't want to use bloodline, but if you're a royal and you never bred outside of your own family, yes, everybody's gonna have the same body type.
That's true. Now, what I thought was interesting in this article is they said for children's ages 2 to 19, the average BMI doubled during the COVID pandemic. I thought that was a very interesting stat that came out of this article. So basically, kids have almost doubled their BMI over the last 3 years. And again,
we locked them indoors.
Yeah, we locked them indoors, and even school systems are not having recess any longer. And kids are sitting behind PlayStations and Xboxes all day and behind their phones. So however you want to measure this, there still needs to be some type of measurement to slap somebody in the face and say, you need to lose some weight. I mean, which if I go to the doctor, they're going to tell me the same.
Well, look, getting a cardiologist at 40-something years old will do it to you.
Right. Yep.
I had a meeting today and I put on one of my Dr. Cool button downs. And I was like, damn, this thing, I must have bought this one. I was humongously fat. It looked like I was wearing a balloon and someone popped.
I was wondering if it was going to be that or one of your buttons in the front was popping. So, okay, good for you.
Well, it came from being sick for a little while, but I'll take it. I don't suggest it, but I'll take it any way I can get it. But I don't know what the standard should be. The Army had a way of doing it. I never made weight in the Army. I think I did once. I always had to tape, where they tape your waist, your neck, and your height, and that's a little more accurate. Because even at 225 when I was in the Army, I was technically overweight, but it was a much different 225 than I have right now.
Right.
I mean, it was I had morning PT and then for lunch went to the gym.
Yep.
And I don't know what happened to that hobby. No, 4 joint reconstructions later, maybe. But I think it's cheap. I think it's a cheap shot to go and put this on race.
Yep, me too.
When we could actually talk, we could have a useful conversation about different body types and eating what's right for your body type. And honestly, we need to have some conversations in this country about wearing clothes that are appropriate for your body type. Just because they make yoga pants in 4XL doesn't mean they should be sold. And if you wear animal print, you should not weigh more than the animal that you're wearing.
I like that. That's probably a good way to look at it. I can't afford Lululemon anyway, so I'm good there.
Speaking of eating,
we talked about food a lot this episode.
Yeah. So they're lab growing chicken from cells.
Oh, yeah. So this week, the U.S. regulators approved the sale of chicken made from animal cells, allowing 2 California companies to offer lab-grown meat to the nation's restaurant tables and eventually supermarket shelves. So basically, they're making this meat and growing it in still tanks using cells that come from a living animal, a fertilized egg, or a special bank of stored cells. And then they take all this meat, processed chicken that they've made, and cut it into chicken cutlets and sausages and chicken patties, and then they're going to end up selling it in grocery stores and to your local restaurants. Sounds disgusting.
Soylent Green is people.
I know. I mean, it truly sounds nasty.
If it's properly marketed, I don't care. I mean, you may sell some of this in San Francisco, LA, New York.
I don't
Austin.
think you're selling it in Georgia.
No. It's plus agriculture is such a big industry, and chicken industry is so big in Georgia that
Yeah, and we've had,
I-
what have we had for a while? We've had Beyond Beef for a while, and I don't think that sells well. And I know it doesn't sell well in the part of Georgia that I live in, but now we're going to have artificial chicken, I guess, right beside the Beyond Beef or Beyond
have you ever
Meat in
had
the
Beyond
grocery store.
Sausage?
I haven't.
I had it in the Sky Club, and I think it was at LAX. Thing about flying west is you leave in the morning and land in the morning, so you have breakfast where you leave and breakfast when you get there.
I like that.
So, yeah, so I sit in the Sky Club and I said, meatless sausage. I said, what the hell? I'll try it.
You shouldn't admit that.
I,
How was it?
I suppose if you take enough hot sauce and put it on there, it'd be all right. But it was nothing special.
Yep.
I would have rather had good sausage patties. And then again, you remember when you eat at the Sky Club, it's all like catered food.
Yep.
So it's, for the most part, you may get an omelet station here or there, but for the most part, you don't have mama cooking your sausage. Maybe it tastes better if you cook it at home in lard,
Butter. Yeah. Some scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm interested. I've always liked to look at the marketing around this. Back in 2019 in the House, we debated a bill in the Agriculture Committee around the marketing of all these type of artificial products like Beyond Beef, and what the farmers had come to the Capitol or come to their representatives and said, we don't want artificial or Beyond Beef being marketed the same way that we're marketing our beef, right? It shouldn't be able to call beef because it's not beef. I know everybody's like, what in the hell? But we actually talked about this for 2 or 3 hours. And one of my friends, Scott Turner in the house, he said, well, we've got a lot of other products like Cadbury eggs. So a Cadbury egg is not an egg, right? But it's being marketed as it's got egg in the name. You got chicken of the sea, which is tuna, being called chicken. So it brought this whole kind of debate up around how these products are marketed and what they can get away with when they're actually put on the grocery store counters that consumers are then buying, which I thought was a very unique discussion we had. Nothing ever came out of it, but
They tried it. They tried that with Taco Bell.
Yeah, right. Same thing.
I guess the burger producers or whatever were trying to go after Taco Bell, saying it's not all beef.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the court ruling came down. Yes, it is. You can't say spices make it not all beef.
Right. Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting. But we'll have to update everybody when this artificial chicken comes out. Maybe Dave, we can get together and throw some on the grill one day.
Yeah. As long as we wrap it in bacon, it'll be fine.
Wrap it in some fake bacon. So we're gonna have some bacon and some artificial
some
chicken
soy
on the
bacon
grill.
and some lab grown chicken.
Yep. And
Why don't we get some zero alcohol beer too?
Yeah, we'll throw that in. And I get the reason behind this again is eliminating harm to animals. So that's a big push. Is they don't want us hurting the little chickens running around, and they also don't like the environmental impacts of chickens grazing out there in the grass. So that's also a big part of this. It all goes back to this whole climate change debate and chickens and cow farts and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we should be eating crickets.
Covered in chocolate.
I've had crickets and guacamole. You don't even know it adds no flavor, adds nothing to it.
Right.
Other than there are crickets ground up in there. And I suppose if you're a starved person, it adds protein to something that's just avocado. But yeah, I'm not eating a cricket sandwich. You don't see Al Gore eating a jam chicken a cricket sandwich. You don't see Al Gore eating Beyond Beef.
No,
and trust me,
if
what's happened to Al Gore is from Beyond Beef, it is not health food. He's ballooned up like nobody's business.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
I assume flying around on private jets, that Chateaubriand really packs on the pounds.
Mm-hmm. That'll do it to you.
All right, Ken, you got any closing thoughts?
I do real quick. At taping, it looks like the sub that went down to look at the Titanic, they've actually found bits and pieces of that. It looks like no one's going to survive the submarine going down to look at the Titanic. Sort of disappointed and just people this week. I don't know if you saw it, but we've had a lot of people making fun of these guys for doing what they did. So you would think there would be a lot more compassion, I guess, around potential people losing their lives and families losing people they love. But it's been almost the opposite, where people have been making a lot of fun of these guys, questioning why they did it, why their sense of adventure and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It feels weird. And I think a lot of people are starting to feel weird about this. Like, why are we taking such a harsh line with these people that were just exploring, right? Exploring the ocean, exploring depths that no one has ever been to before. That's what made the U.S. great, is people flying. And that's what, this whole going to the moon, going in outer space is based on people doing stuff where you could potentially die. And, it's just been weird that the reaction I've seen out of a lot of people this week that you probably know personally, and I know personally too. Just been a weird kind of vibe with this. And I feel sorry for the people, the families that lost family members. And it's a big setback, right? We had people that die this week over this. And I think our reaction should have been a little bit different.
There's a couple things going to that. One is there is no empathy on the internet.
No, there's none. Yep.
Another thing is I don't mind dark humor. One of them that says, when you realize $200,000 sub trip was not round trip.
That's brutal.
But the stuff that I found was brutal was really from the political left, that on Twitter was saying things like five dead white billionaires. That's a start.
I saw that one too. Yep.
The ocean swallowing billionaires and stuff like that. And that stuff was the not being a round trip ticket. That's humor.
Yes, dark humor. It's dark humor.
Yeah,
it is.
That's humor.
But would they have said the same thing about what was the spaceship that exploded when it went up?
Oh, the Challenger?
Yeah, Challenger. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, there were dead teacher jokes that came out within weeks.
Jeez.
Because I was in school at the time. I mean,
we
all had a teacher we wish would have gone on the Challenger.
Maybe I was too young to remember that.
You're not younger than I am, are you?
Almost 50, 48.
I'm 46.
Okay, what grade was that then?
Third or fourth.
Okay,
See, I grew up in South Florida. We grew up watching the launches. We'd go outside and watch the launch.
I was in sixth grade when the Challenger blew up. I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, we used to stand outside and watch the launches and all that stuff, and that stopped after that.
Well, listen, if I ever do anything crazy in my lifetime and I don't make it back, try to lay off the dark humor.
No. No, man. I want people telling jokes at my funeral. So we have a $3.5 million shark snack. A potential winning blue marlin coming in. This was a tournament in North Carolina. Trumped the other fish by a couple 100 pounds. I mean, this thing was a monster, 600 something pounds, as I recall.
Jeez, that's a big one.
Disqualified because it looks like a shark may have interfered with the catch, may have taken a bite out of it. And I understand. Look, if they did something wrong, if they used the wrong, these tournaments have very specific rules.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a fishing license. You have to. Your leader can only be so many feet long. Your leader has to be whatever test. Your line has to be whatever test. You can't pass the rod off. That kind of stuff. They have very specific rules. But to lose $3.5 million for that team because a shark interfered with it. It's not like the shark took the tail off. It took a nibble.
Yeah, I saw
probably figured out this was a big marlin.
I saw people watching the weigh-in, and when the guy came out and said, "We've got to review this fish because it's got the shark bite," people were booing, and they were not happy, as you can imagine, from the decision that happened here.
I guess rules are rules, and I'm sure it says something in there about a predator messing with your fish.
Right.
But from what I saw, the marks on that fish was a very minor bite, if you can call any shark bite minor.
Yeah, but I think it was just I saw something around the tail, but it didn't look like a huge shark bite.
No, a huge tiger shark would have taken the tail off. So,
Exactly.
we've talked a lot about being underwater and eating this week. On that note, big thanks to Eric Humby, our editor, to Ken Pullen, my partner in this endeavor. I'm Dave Roberts. Have a great week.
Catch me howling at the moon.